Though now months after the blockbuster trade that sent Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers, the previously LeBron James-led team has yet to see what the duo looks like on the court for a full season together. But now, after Doncic signed his extension and James picked up his player option, two of the league's top offensive threats are set to play alongside each other for at least the upcoming season on what is a highly anticipated Lakers roster. While Los Angeles has committed to Doncic as their new franchise star, the future of James remains murky. Yet still, the 21-time All-Star could find new ways to impact the game in what could be his lone full season playing with the Slovenian. James will continue his defiance of the aging process and should be good for highly efficient scoring numbers, Grant Hughes of Bleacher Report wrote. He might not match last year's 24.4 points per game, but he has never spent a full season with a facilitator like Doncic. He could be in for the most open spot-ups he's ever seen. James, entering his record-breaking 23rd season, is the oldest player in the NBA. He is set for free agency next summer, playing what could be his last season for the Lakers now that Doncic is the face of the franchise. First full season with Luka Doncic and LeBron James. The 2025-26 season, being the first full-year Los Angeles is with both Doncic and James, remains the leading storyline of the team, despite their other roster changes this summer. As Doncic will likely take more on-ball responsibilities in a facilitator role, as seen in his time with the Dallas Mavericks, James could find himself facing less pressure than at any other point in his career. Though he played with Hall of Fame teammates with top-tier offensive skills like Dwayne Wade, the spacing a player like Doncic will create is likely something James has never been accustomed to when it comes to his teammates. As long as he's willing to accept a more dependent role in the offense, James will be positioned for tons of easy buckets, Hughes added. The scoring numbers have dropped for James as his age continues to rise, but the 40-year-old forward finished last year 13th in regular season scoring and 10th in playoff scoring. With opposing defenses now making Doncic, entering the prime ages of his career, as their primary target, James could see more wide-open shots compared to any other point of his NBA tenure. In what is also a good sign for what expects to be a deadly offensive combination of Doncic and James, the latter's shooting numbers have been the highest of his career while with the Lakers, finishing the last two seasons above 50% shooting from the field and nearly 39% from three. New-look Lakers roster. Along with Austin Reeves having the ability to take on a decent-sized offensive workload, the Lakers added DeAndre Ayton, who, as seen in the past, can score 15 to 20 points a night for the center position that the franchise critically needed. Offensively, this group should dominate, Hughes wrote. Doncic has plenty to prove after last year's slippage, and Ayton stands to benefit from the best spoon-fed setups he's seen since playing with Chris Paul in Phoenix. Reeves, Ayton, Rui Hachimura, and the rest of their supporting cast will pick up the pieces on offense left by both James and Doncic, but the Lakers' concerns on that side of the ball dwarf those on the defensive side. Ayton remains a subpar defender, and while Los Angeles struggled immensely against big men in the playoffs, their overall defensive potential doesn't compare with that of their offense. Marcus Smart was brought in to help minimize those expected woes, but the former Defensive Player of the Year has taken a step back from when he was a consistent all-defensive player just a few years ago. Smart is the only question mark, but one assumes the Lakers added him following a buyout from the Washington Wizards because they believe he can fill a critical defensive role with the first unit, Hughes added. If he can't, Rui Hachimura projects as a reliable replacement, albeit one who probably isn't suited for matching up against the opponent's top-scoring wing defense is going to be a shortcoming. The question remains whether the Lakers' off-season moves are enough to shore up their defense next season. However, the offensive duo of Doncic and James will likely remain amongst the best in the NBA for the title-hopeful Los Angeles team. The Miami Heat have set a high asking price for Andrew Wiggins, a stance that has cooled early trade talks with the Los Angeles Lakers, according to multiple reports. Anthony Irwin of Clutch Points reported on Monday that Miami's demands included forward Rui Hachimura, Dalton Connect, its former guard Gabe Vincent, and a future first-round pick in exchange for Wiggins. Talks fell apart after the Lakers refused to part with both Hachimura and their lone movable first-rounder. One story, and the one that I heard more directly, was that the Miami Heat were asking for Rui Hachimura, Irwin said on his podcast, The Lakers Lounge. They were asking for a first-round pick. They were asking for Gabe Vincent, whom they like, and potentially also Dalton Connect. The Lakers, I think, would be fine moving on from Dalton for Wiggins. They would obviously also be fine moving on from Gabe Vincent for Andrew Wiggins. And I also think they would probably be mostly fine moving off of Rui Hachimura for Andrew Wiggins, but they definitely did not want to include Rui and the one first-round pick that they can move this season. And so that was where, again, I heard directly that those talks kind of broke down. Stein. Lakers could revisit Andrew Wiggins' interest. Owen's update came on the heels of longtime NBA insider Mark Stein's report that Los Angeles remains interested in acquiring a two-way wing before the February 5th trade deadline. Stein identified Wiggins as a player who could raise the Lakers' ceiling if Miami reconsiders its position. I don't think that means they'll swing a deal for just anyone between now and the February 5th trade deadline, but league sources say LA would indeed have interest in adding a two-way swingman who can raise their ceiling, Stein wrote in his The Stein Line newsletter. My read, if Miami were to make him available, Andrew Wiggins. Stein added that the Lakers' interest is tied to whether the Heat prioritize financial flexibility and look to reduce payroll in the coming months. Heat hold firm. So far, Miami has shown little inclination to move Wiggins. The Miami Herald's Anthony Chang and Barry Jackson reported that the Heat plan to retain Wiggins, with Jackson noting that nothing offered so far has been enticing. Wiggins, acquired by Miami from Golden State, averaged 19.0 points for 0.2 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.1 steals, and 1.0 blocks in 17 games for the Heat to finish the regular season. However, his performance dropped sharply during Miami's 4-0 first-round sweep by the Cleveland Cavaliers, falling to 11.5 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 2.3 assists per game, which may have influenced discussions about his future. Wiggins, 30, is under contract for 2 more years, with a $30.2 million player option for the 2026-27 season. Balancing competing priorities. For the Heat, the decision over Wiggins represents a balancing act between financial flexibility and competitive depth. Trading him could open up more cap flexibility, but it would also strip Miami of a player with championship experience and defensive versatility. On the Lakers' side, analysts such as Jovan Buha of The Athletic have stressed the importance of landing a player like Wiggins to bolster their chances of joining the league's top tier. If the Lakers were to get Andrew Wiggins, or a player of that archetype, that's the ideal player to put beside Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves, Buha said on the September 9th episode of Buha's Block podcast. For now, the Heat appear content to hold their position. But with the Lakers monitoring closely and the trade deadline less than 5 months away, Miami may soon face a decision on whether to keep Wiggins as part of a playoff push or explore a deal that could reshape both their roster and their financial outlook. The Los Angeles Lakers have been linked in trade rumors involving Andrew Wiggins all summer. Although reports from internal Lakers sources claimed that the interest in the forward had died down, it was evident that acquiring Wiggins would be in the team's best interests. While there was radio silence on this front for the better part of the last 2 months, recent reports have indicated a renewed interest from the Lakers' side in acquiring Wiggins. With Luka Doncic's contract extension in place, the organization now has the capacity to pursue the Heat forward. Hence, to facilitate the move, Bleacher Report's Eric Pincus presented a 3-team trade scenario. Here are the details. Proposed trade details. Los Angeles Lakers receive Andrew Wiggins, Jamie Jaquez Jr., Drew Tim. Miami Heat receive Rui Hachimura, Dalton Connect, $10 million trade exception Wiggins. Brooklyn Nets receive Maxi Kleber, 2026 second-round pick, MIA, for $0.6 million MIA, $2 million LAL. Given that there are several moving parts involved in this deal, we take a closer look at how it has an impact on each party involved. The Lakers finally acquire Wiggins. Acquiring Andrew Wiggins can be perceived as the final piece of the championship puzzle for the Lakers. Given their off-season roster upgrades, adding the Heat forward would simply serve to cement their status as legitimate title contenders in the West. The 30-year-old brings a lot of positive traits that could help the Lakers elevate their output next season. As an exceptional two-way player, Wiggins emerges as the ideal starting wing player for the team. Considering that he would effectively become the team's third star, the forward has shown that he is capable of being a key contributor on both ends of the floor. During his time with the Heat last season, he averaged 19.0 points, 4.2 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.2 steals, and 1.0 blocks per game. As a gifted asset with championship experience, Wiggins boasts a lot of value to the Lakers. Along with Wiggins, the Lakers would also see the addition of Jamie Jaquez Jr. and Drew Timm in this deal. Jaquez Jr. has shown some potential to develop into a key role player. Given Miami's investment in his development, it is safe to assume that even after an underwhelming campaign, the 24-year-old could be due to have a breakout season soon. Last season, he averaged 8.6 points and 4.4 rebounds, while shooting 46.1% from the field and 31.1% from three-point range. Although his perimeter shooting leaves room for more to be desired, Jaquez Jr. has displayed an impressive offensive skill set, presenting the potential to be a solid multi-level scorer. With Connect on the way out in this scenario, Jaquez Jr. could stand to gain more playing time in the rotation, especially to support the bench scoring efforts. Timm's addition could also be viewed as valuable. With Maxi Kleber on the way out in this proposal, the Lakers will need a third big man in the rotation. Last season with the Brooklyn Nets, Timm averaged 12.1 points and 7.2 rebounds, while shooting 44.1% from the field and 25.7% from three-point range. At 25, the Nets forward has a lot of potential to develop into a solid rotation piece. Signing Timm to a minimum contract could help the purple and gold fill out the 14th spot on the roster, while remaining under the first tax apron.